here, back with an astrology update. This one's the transits for June. I know there's been a lot happening with eclipse season and Mercury retrograde, so I'm sure you guys are keen to hear about what transits are coming up and what's happening. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the content on my channel, especially if you like anything to do with astrology, fitness, spirituality, you know, psychology, parenting, any of that kind of stuff. But let's jump into it. This one's for the Taurus risings out there. So let's have a chat about the sun. The sun's our ego, it's our vitality, it's our confidence, it's where we're shining, how we're shining, what people are taking notice of. So the sun starts off in your Gemini second house. So when the sun's transiting through your second house, you're just shining in the areas of your values, possessions, finances. People can be really taking notice of how well you're doing in that area. Again, it does depend on your natal chart and how this is interacting with your natal planets, personal planets. So if you need a hand with that, I do natal chart reports, I do natal chart readings, astrology readings. I'll put all my information below just in case you need a hand with any of that. But you know, not every transit's going to be good, not every transit's going to be bad. It really just depends. And the stars give us a way to navigate those more difficult challenges. You know, and there's going to be things like sextiles, trines, squares. So understanding how the sun transiting through your second house and how that's interacting with your natal chart is really important. On the 21st of June, the sun then moves into your Cancer third house. So what this just means, again, you're just shining in the areas of your communication. So you might be communicating more confidently. Maybe you might get some really good news about something really positive, something that makes you really happy and excited. It can be just really communicating in a really like a fun way as well, and your thoughts might be more positive because third house can be our thoughts, it's communication, it's learning. You might start some new learning projects as well that really boost your confidence because you might be getting good grades or doing really well in the course, or maybe it's just something fun that you really enjoy. Otherwise, the sun transiting through your third house can also be to do with your siblings, so maybe you're enjoying time with your siblings and having a lot of fun with them. It can be also short distance travels and trips, so you know, going on a bit of a road trip somewhere that's been really fun and you had a lot of, you know, good times and good memories. But it can also be things like your social media and network, so maybe you might be getting a bit of a boost on social media that makes you feel really confident and happy and excited, or maybe you're shining in that area, you're networking, your social media, any of those sorts of things. Then we've got Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of our thoughts, it's communication, it's news, it's learning. So Mercury starts off retrograde in your first house. So what this means is that it started off retrograde in Gemini and it retrogrades back to Taurus, so your first house. When it starts off in Gemini in your second house, there can be, it could be asking you, the retrograde could be asking you to reflect on areas around that Gemini second house. So your money, finances, what you value, but it technically transits back to Taurus in your first house. So again, it could be doing things to do with things like your personal appearance, your body, your physical health, your self-branding, your self-identity. So, you know, some people might be reflecting on, you know, I guess branding and how they can make money, because that's branding's first house. Second house could be money and how I make money. For other people, it could be something to do with what do I value? Do I value my health? Do I value my body? Those sorts of things. So that's, you know, values is that second house, but the body and my health and like physical health can be the first house. So some people might be reflecting on those things. But again, retrogrades are all about reviewing, revisiting projects or things that aren't working or haven't worked, or you know, finishing off things that need to be completed. So if there's any kind of news or communication or anything to do with money or anything to do with your self-identity or your body that's been kind of up in the air that needs to be kind of, I guess, finished, or some kind of closure needs to be found there, you could be getting that once June 3rd comes around and that retrograde ends, because the Mercury retrograde ends June 3rd in that Taurus first house for you. So once it turns direct in your first house in Taurus, you then again will be thinking more about yourself, your body, your identity, your branding, However, on the 14th of June, Mercury will then move back into that Gemini second house for you. So that's when your attention, your focus, thoughts are all going to be back on money, possessions, what I value, those sorts of things, like who am I, what's important to me. And it's our pleasure as well. So when that starts off in your Taurus first house, you might be spending more time on self-care, on beauty products. You might change up your style, your appearance. You might be appearing more beautiful or sexy to other people. You can be just more feminine and romantically attractive to other people, especially if you change your style up or change your appearance. But sometimes it's just loving ourselves a bit more, or with this transit, people are just noticing how beautiful we are and how friendly and nice we are. Other people, it's just, self-care and pleasure. So we're spending more time having those bubble baths, or going for a massage, or getting our hair done, or getting our nails done. We're pampering ourselves, whatever it is that you do for yourself. That transit can definitely come up for you. But then when it moves into our second house, your Gemini second house, on the 23rd of June, that's when you're going to be loving your money, possessions. You're going to be thinking a little bit more about, your budgeting, what's working, what's not. Venus really is at home in that second house. Usually Taurus and Venus rule that second house in astrology. So for you, definitely when Venus moves into that second house, it is in Gemini, but it is still that second house. So you're going to be more curious. You're going to be thinking a lot more about your money, your possessions, and what you value. Do you value going out with your friends? Have you been spending too much money going out with your friends? Do you want to spend more time going out with your friends? Networking, budgeting. Can your friends, or can that network, can the community that and your neighbors and the people that you're around, can they help you make more money? Are you spending too much money in those areas? Because again, your natal chart will show whether these things are, working well for you or not so well. Not every transit is going to impact people the same, but generally, Venus going through that second house is a really nice transit. It can increase our money, increase our pleasure and our fun, those sorts of things. And then Mars. So Mars is the planet of action, passion, war, aggression. So what we're fighting for and fighting with. That one starts off in your Aries 12th house. So when Mars is in the 12th house, it's a little bit uncomfortable there, because the 12th house is technically one of those houses that does get, more of a bad rep, because either people don't know enough about it, or just the topics that it does bring up can be a little bit more challenging. So the 12th house is all about transcendence, isolations, withdrawals. It rules over institutions like hospitals and, mental health facilities, prisons, all those sorts of things. However, it can also be to do with relocation and working behind the scenes at work, where people don't really know who you are or what you're doing, but you're working behind the scenes. So it's more of a quiet time, and it's a lot about transcendence and spending more time within. Mars is, a planet of action and passion and war and aggression. So sometimes when Mars is going through that 12th house, it can be a little bit more challenging. However, on a positive side, it can be just asking you to take a step back and relax. Spend some more time by yourself, away from other people, recharge your batteries, because remember, Mars is our energy. It's how we take action, what we're taking action on. So sometimes, if we're feeling really tired and run down, we need a break. We need to recharge those batteries. So Mars going through that 12th house can say, go on a spiritual retreat, go do some yoga, spend some time by yourself, maybe read some books, or just do something in isolation, or turn to your spirituality, all those sorts of things. So Mars will be going through that 12th house all the way through June. So it doesn't move out of Aries until next month. So we'll talk about that a little bit more next month. You then have a new moon. It's technically May 30th, so it's not in June, but it's technically the new moon for June. So May 30th in Australian Eastern Standard Time, Sydney time zone. It's in your Gemini second house at 9:30 p.m. So new moon's all about new beginnings, new cycles starting. So second house is about your money, your possessions, your values, those sorts of things. So expect some new beginnings over the next 3 months around those areas. You then have a full moon on June 14th, again Australian time, in your Sagittarius 8th house at 9:51 p.m. 8th house is all about other people's money, other finances. So if you've got a business, it can be your business's income. If you're married or in a serious committed relationship, it can be your partner's money, your husband's money, your wife's money. It can be if you're in a business partnership, the partnership's money. It's, you know, as it is taxes, debts, inheritances, other people's money. But it's also the house of occult practices, so, you know, like witchcraft and all that kind of stuff. It's the house of psychology as well, and deep bonding. It's the house of transformation, secrets, lies, truth. So sex, death, rebirth. It's a really strong house, a lot like that 12th house. The 8th house is another taboo house. So with that full moon happening in your 8th house, definitely there's going to be some big transformational endings coming about for you over the next 3 to 6-ish months, more so 3 months. If you check out when the last new moon in Sagittarius was, that's when some of these events and things might have popped up and started for you. And now that the full moon's come around, that's when these things are coming to an end and being completed. So I really hope that one helps you out. And again, as I said, don't forget to like and subscribe just to, you know, keep up to date with everything that's going on. If you have any questions, definitely interact, ask questions, drop any kind of comments about how these transits might be impacting you or what you're noticing already. I love to hear from you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.